How's it going, Barry? It's good to see you, brother. Haven't seen your face in a while, so it's a pleasure to see you. How you living?
Hey, 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 how you doing, brother? It's a little rainy, so it might remind you of your area of the world. Like it's like torrential downpours out here right now.
That's it's warm over here, man. So yeah, it's like a flip flop, I guess. We got lots of sunshine, no showers on this side, man. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to range your way, but keep it over there, man.
It's all good. I enjoy it. It's like, sometimes you need that rain to sort of like cleanse. So it feels like all this heat that we've been having is finally time to get some torrential downpour. So I'm good with that.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, shoot, it's been a while since we've been able to check in. So yeah, give me that general check in. How are things going, and what would be helpful for us to talk about today?
Yeah, so there's so many moving parts. I probably, there's family stuff. No, let me first say, like, nothing feels like out of my control, but there's a lot of things that I need to manage, and I'm trying to figure out like what are the things that I should focus most of my attention on. So one, there's been a really big change at my school. So we lost our principal. He's moved on to a new place. And we believe we found the replacement, but it hasn't been publicly announced. So we're kind of in this holding pattern right now before we can really sort of get into the meat of planning for the school year. So I'm in a weird spot because I'm sort of the third in command because we have two assistant principals and then the principal. I'm in this weird spot because we don't have a principal. The other assistant principal that's there with me, she's like 1 foot out the door because she's like, I should have been the principal. So she's out the door. And now it's left to me. But I'm very much a follow the chain of command kind of person. Like I'm here to assist the leader. I have my own ideas on in terms of like what I would like to do. But with this new leader coming in, I don't want to get too far down the road on my own agenda. And then they up in that. So that's probably the most pressing issue. That's like front of mind for me. And then as far as like home life is good. The kids are well. Um, an ongoing challenge that I have to be truthful with you is just like finding quality time, me and my wife. Like our lives are so busy professionally and just like raising a family. It's hard to like um find like intimacy in some of the like the chaos of parenting and work. So both are really important. I feel closer to a solution with like my home life stuff. So I think focusing on like how I can sort of lead in the absence of a leader it feels like a good place to start.
Okay, yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing all that, and I'm glad to hear that overall you feel in a good place as far as like in control, um, and what you can control. And thanks for basically laying the table for us that you really want to lean into examining, how to explore the work situation and best adjust and prepare for the new principal coming in. So yeah, I know you kind of named a few things so far. So, what would you like to be true? Like, what would you like to have set up for that person when they come through it?
I'm a big like so one of my big sort of must-haves is like transparency. And so my prior school leader, just his leadership style and my, sort of way of being in schools just didn't align. Like I'm very transparent. I want to know what I'm being asked to do. I want to know what my roles and responsibilities are. I also want to know like when I'm off track. You know what I'm saying? I need feedback. I need real-time feedback. And I'm not emotional about that. Like if I'm stinking it up, you let me know. And I'm my own worst critic, so I'm gonna do the work. And I felt like I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting coached up. I wasn't getting any sort of like feedback on my work product. So that's one. What I would like to be true is that myself and this new school leader, we can like have an opportunity. I can have an opportunity to sort of lay out sort of like my priorities and where I feel like I can impact the school community sort of in the ways that I have before and what I envision for the future. And just kind of lay out like sort of like who I am as a school leader and what I'll stand on and like my non-negotiables. But sometimes, but I don't know this person's personality. They might take it, I don't want them to take it the wrong way. Like, hey, these are Barry's non-negotiables, right? I don't want to lead like that. I kind of want to come in a little bit less aggressive, but also being well defined. Like, hey, my family really comes first before anything. And I'm gonna break my back while I'm in here. But when I'm out of here, I'm a dad, I'm a father, I'm a community member. Like I have other things that are also important to me. So just really being able to set really clear boundaries and do that in a relaxed setting. And even if I don't get it all across in that one meeting, but just like creating a space where we can have honest and frank conversation and then not feel like I'm like, overly aggressive or I'm like really just like being an adversary. I want you to know what my perspective is.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you breaking that down. And it seems very clear what you want to be true in setting those boundaries and the type of relationship that you want to have with this new person, clarifying your values, right? You named transparency being an important value for you overall, and you also named a need for real time feedback and coaching, and that you have a non negotiable in the space of like work. Um, Compromising family. So one of the things I heard you say is not being aggressive and not doing too much in that first meeting. So what does it look like to maybe like break this into like two, right? Like the non-negotiables. Uh, Sounds like that might be the hard spot. So like maybe
Yeah.
what's a plan to break that up? Do you have to do it all in the first meeting?
The way I've found that once the school year gets started, if the principal is not intentional about making time for these kind of conversations, it just doesn't happen. And what I learned, this is only my second year in school leadership. I tried to follow my other principal's lead, and he didn't go anywhere. I'm like, all right, let's go. And we're still in place. And so I don't want that to happen again because again, I one day would like to run my own school and I want to be like in the pocket with you. Like I want to, like I like working hard. I like solving difficult problems. I like being in the trenches doing stuff. You know what I mean? And so I don't want us to have that distance. But at the same time, this work is really grueling, and I'm very intentional about like my self care. Like self care for me is spending quality time with myself, like just me, or with my family, or with my wife, or my friends. And I'm intentional about that. Like I need time to do that. Like after work, maybe I'll take a day. Like there have been times during the school year I'm like I have to take a day because the stuff that we're dealing with kids and things like that can be real heavy on the spirit. And if I don't have that cleanup period, I'm not at my best. And I just want them to understand like that's the perspective. Like I'm gonna work my ass off for this school community and for these young people and for the families. Like that's not gonna never not be true. But I also have my own family and my own challenges and all those sort of things that are a priority. And I need to strike a healthy balance with that. I think you're on mute.
So sorry. When it comes to this balance you're talking about and um wanting to make sure that whoever the new leader is like gets what that means, what are like the tangible actions that that person can come to expect?
Mhm. So one is that so I have three children. Two of my daughters go to one school. My one daughter goes to another school. So we typically start at 8:15. So in a perfect world, I would be at work at 7:15. The earliest I can usually get there is like 7:45. And so that hasn't been an issue with my other principal. And I'm not late, I'm just not super early. So holding that as true, like it's a priority for me to be able to take my daughters to their drop off spot. So drop off in the morning and then pick up. My wife, she travels for work like all the time. Like she's on the road like half the week. So I'm responsible for pickup and extracurriculars. So I'm definitely willing to be the late person, but depending on what the extracurriculars are for my daughters, I don't know if I'm willing to compromise that, every single day. Like, so for example, last year, my girls were in chess, they were in basketball, like all this extracurricular stuff, and it was on very specific days of the week. So those are the days that I'm just not going to be staying late, right? So I can stay late. I can probably stay as late as like maybe 4 o'clock on certain days of the week. But beyond that, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So, and then there's this tendency, depending on, like, I've heard of other principals just having no limit when it comes to reaching out to you on the weekends, like Saturday or Sunday. Unless it's like an emergency, I'm off the grid. Like Friday at 3:30, 4 o'clock, Barry is like, I'm taking my principal hat off, and now it's full-time dad, family, got, all the things. So my non-negotiables are that kind of like my start of my day and my end of my day have to be set. I'll dig a ditch. I'll do whatever is required during the work hours. But outside of that, I have other professional development things like this coaching course that we're taking, and I'm involved in my community. Like there's other things that I have that are important, and just expressing that to her. And I don't want it to be a competitive thing. It's not that I don't care about the work that we do as school leaders, but I'm a whole person. I'm not just a principal. So, but I would say it would be that, like my start of my day and my end of my day, and just you know don't get comfortable with just peppering me with like menial tasks at like 9 o'clock at night, something that could wait. Cause again, like I need a clean out period because the workday is heavy as hell. And I don't want to be thinking about it when I'm with my kids or with my wife.
Mm. What do you know about your new leader in terms of how she would normally handle this balance that
Mm.
you're seeking?
Ooh, man, I don't know much about her, but the little bit that I do know about this person, um, it's really not all good. It's like it's just not all good. So, without going into too much detail, this particular teacher was replaced at her old school, um, because of her handling of a graduation ceremony, right? It was deemed to be it looked like the optics of what she did, and I don't want to go into too much detail because it's still like public, it's like it's still tight, but like how she handled a student during graduation who happened to be an African American student, the teacher is white. The optics of it looked pretty doggone racist. And so she was asked to step down or she resigned from her school. So that tells me, like, from the rip, like, does this woman have the sensitivity to deal with our kids? Like, can you deal with the kid that's going to cuss you out, but still approach that kid with love and give them grace, right? What I've witnessed is that she maybe doesn't. She's kind of set in her ways about, like, she's kind of like a hyper rule follower. And if a child comes out of that box, she's kind of like, no, 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 without taking into account, like, you know, like culture, and you know what I'm saying? Like there's just certain things that she's just I think she has a blind spot for certain things. Her temperament around like how she manages her support team, like her staff, I really don't know for certain. Like I don't have any intel on that. The limited interaction I've had with her recently, she definitely seems to have a very strong point of view. And she's not afraid to bump heads with like leadership, like not even me, but like her bosses. And I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily a good sign in terms of like what collaboration might look like or what like boundaries might look like. Because I have
Mhm.
very clear boundaries. And then we're married. We're married. Like once she gets into this building, is we gonna be rocking every day. And I don't plan on going anywhere. And so I'm hoping that we can come to an understanding.
Yeah. So you do know some things about this person, but there's also some question marks. So you can
Mhm.
only focus on yourself in
Mhm.
terms of next steps and actions, right?
That's correct.
And you've already kind of stated in words
Mhm.
how you need to work in order for you to achieve this balance that you need to feel centered in your life and work.
Mhm.
Um, have you thought about asking her some
Mhm.
of the questions that maybe I've asked you about her work style how she needs how she gets balance in her life so that perhaps you could
Mm,
introduce this as a concept.
I like that. I really like that. I like that a lot. I because again, this we I'm not you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So I like leading in with that. Like you've been a school leader for all these years. Like, how do you find work-life balance? Because you're a parent, I'm a parent. Like tell me how you find that. Because again, our work is incredibly difficult. So if you're not getting that, if you're not filling up your bucket, if you're not recharging your battery, if you're not restoring yourself back to yourself, I don't know how you do this work. So that's a really valid question. I definitely will ask her that. And I think that sets a certain tone. Like it's not confrontational. It's just very more like because she's definitely like the type of person if you ask her, she wants to tell you about herself. So I'm gonna give her the floor.
Mhm. And probably most people do, right? And you strike me, Barry, in all the times that we've spoken, that you're a very you value curiosity over judgment. And
Mhm.
so I wonder if that is the approach that might center you as you move forward with starting to get to know this person who you might have questions about. But how would you use that curiosity over judgment value set moving forward?
No, that's a really awesome take because I also try to see the best in people. Her track record is pretty muddy right now, but I want to also give her the opportunity to sort of like demonstrate, like, no, I am a person. I'm good for these young people, and I like the idea of like asking probing questions because that'll help me with my approach. Like once I understand like who she is as a leader, then I know sort of what route I can take to advocate for myself. Because I'm going to advocate for myself. I guess the thing that I'm worried about is how it might come off, or like, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm going to be shortchanging kids because I'm not. But I again like boundaries are really important for me, and my kids are very young, so I don't get a second chance at my daughter being 10 again, right? I don't get a second chance. And if that means that work have to take a back seat so that I can be a full-time present and available dad, I'm just going to do that and not be apologetic about it. I just hope she don't take it the wrong way. But if she does, I mean, we stuck. We're here together. But I do like that approach. I think what I can commit to is using whatever conversations we have, those initial ones at least, is to really before I like pepper her with my sort of non-negotiables, maybe like I really should like take the time to peel back the layers to figure out who exactly this person is, like what does she stand for, and how our missions align. Start there, and then maybe we can get to a place of like, oh yeah, Barry, it's fine. Go ahead and leave. Like I'm hopeful that she's cool, but I don't know that she's cool like that. So we'll see.
Well, if you were new coming into a school as a leader,
Mhm.
what kind of probing questions would you want someone to ask you?
Yeah, so I actually thought about this because I feel like her approach is different than what I would do. Like, because she's all again, like, not to throw her under the bus, but the announcement hasn't been made, and she's already given us like tasks and things like that. And I'm like, man, we don't even know if you're the person, right? And I'm very much, I would hope that when I come, like, when I have my opportunity, I hope the first thing they ask me is like, what is my vision for this school? What is my North Star? Like, what am I committed to? Why did I pick this school community? And what impact do I hope to have? Like, that's what I would want people to ask me because because there's going to be times where I'm going to make decisions that you're not going to like, but you'd be like, you know what? These are his non negotiables. This is the path that we're on together. And this decision connects to that. I don't know what her vision is. I don't know what her, again, yeah, I don't want to judge her based on the first time I met her, but she did a lot of talking about how great I am, and how great she is. Like, people love me and people love working for me. I'm like, but I don't know. People that say that, usually that ain't true. And so I would love to know, like, as opposed to like just telling me how great of a person you are, tell me what your passion and commitment for young people are that are growing up in the hood, that are in dangerous environments, and how this place is going to be a safe haven for young people. Now you got my full attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you get the struggle, because the school that where she was considered a magnet school. So the young people that she was working with were probably more academically stronger, better behavior, perhaps. My school, not as academically strong, and we definitely have our climate issues, but we in the thick of it. Like, we in the thick of it. There's shootings, there's all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, this is like, when I think of about a school place, it's a safe haven for young people. It's an institution of higher learning, and we're trying to find the best in our young people and do it to the point where they're ready for high school and college, if that's what they want to do. So I need to hear that from her. Um, yeah. So I would hope somebody would ask me that.
Very appreciate you sharing there, brother. Appreciate you sharing. Um, so you already laid out your goals of your own. I heard them. You named them. You know what I'm saying? You named them. And I think April, I saw, I saw the I saw the emotional change. I saw the pivot. I saw the pivot because initially when you were sharing, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was a sense of uncertainty, but within that uncertainty, there was a little bit of anger.
Mhm.
I heard anger. I heard anger come through. Is that accurate?
Frustration, probably.
Frustration. Okay, frustration. Better yet. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Go ahead.
And since you touched that nerve, like, part of that frustration is like the school community actually picked another person to be the principal, and the higher ups literally chose this lady despite teachers wanting somebody different. I wanted someone different, and the woman that we wanted to bring in was already like my partner in crime, like the other assistant principal. She's been there for multiple years. Got, like, if you look at her resume, she's ready. And this person was plugged in because she has a relation, you know what I mean? Like, she's connected.
Got it.
So it wasn't a merit-based decision. It was very much like, hey, we want to put this lady on because she has the right relationships. And that's frustrating because they don't have shit to do with the kids in the building. Like, the kids in the building, they know, like, they need consistency. Like, they need to know what to expect. And now you throw in this curveball, and like I said, the optics, the meat, like, this shit is terrible. It's like, oh my God, this is the principal. If parents knew who this lady was, oh man, it'd be like pitchforks and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know if it's justified, but like, her reputation is not,
Right.
it ain't stellar right now.
So I appreciate you sharing and clarifying my word choice. Anger was not there. You're correct. Frustration. Thank you for naming that. And you also shared some things within that. You shared that the school community together came and made a decision, and that decision was overruled by a higher authority, right? Um, not Barry's doing, you know what I'm saying? Not Barry's decision, not in Barry's control. Clearly not in the school panel's decision either. You know, the hiring, the word is escaping me right now.
You were exactly. I know where you're going. It was just,
So,
it was very
but I
frustrating.
want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you got it. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't want to stay there because it sounds like the principal that has been appointed as the new, you know what I mean? There's
Mhm.
already she's already have some hurdles that she has to get over. You know what I'm saying? So I like I like how April had you think about your first formal meeting with the
Mhm.
new principal. You know what I mean? We know where Barry stands. You shared with us where you stand. You shared with us where your non-negotiables are. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I understand you have three daughters. Two
Mhm.
go to one school, another goes to a second school. You know what I mean? You're responsible for pickup and drop off. You're responsible for extracurricular activities. You know what's important to you.
Mhm.
You know Barry. You don't know Miss, Miss New Principal,
Mm.
but you want to get to know Miss New Principal. Hey, Miss So-and-so, any chance I could get a one-on-one on your calendar so that we could sit down and have a, and have a meeting, have a get to know you. You sent the invite. That's all Barry is in control of. That's all Barry can control.
I'm
You
writing that because that's actually an issue that I had with my other principal because we would put stuff on the calendar, but all right, we're gonna meet Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Boom. Wednesday, 10 o'clock roll around, going with the wind.
right.
Like so I do, but like again, last year I was new. This year is like, nah, bro. Like, this is when we're gonna meet. We're gonna meet at 10. I'm in your office at 9:55. We're gonna have this meeting today. It's not gonna go off into the wind somewhere. So I need a standing meeting with it. Because again, like to me, what I learned last year is like you get out of step with the school leader and they're off on the island somewhere, and then I'm off on
Done. Oh, there you go.
You back, my man.
There you go.
oh,
He's
sorry
back.
about that. Shaky signal.
Right.
That's that
Um,
hurricane. Hey, keep on going.
Yeah, but we off on islands, and I'm like, I want to make sure we have a standing meeting where we can stay on the same page.
no, I think that's I think that's great, and I think sharing your past experiences would be, what I mean,
Mm,
a good thing to do as well, so that she, what I mean, she knows where you're coming from. I would like to get back into, you do know your non-negotiables,
mhm,
but without knowing hers.
mhm.
So again, much like April shared with you, what are your thoughts on the inquisitive approach, the curious? Hey, you've got X amount of years experience in this, in education, um, and how would you, how do you balance, what I'm saying, homework? How do you balance home and work?
I think that's brilliant. Like what I know about her, I think giving her a stage, because in the same way I want to be heard and seen properly, flipping it around, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure she wants to be seen outside of like what the media says she is. Like the media or the folks have her painted a certain way. She's probably like, but no, this is the real me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like giving her a space to be like, well, tell me who you are, and then show me who you are. Like you gonna tell me a whole lot of things, but like I need to see it. So like I said, I want to see. I want to believe in the best in this person. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. I've never worked with her. I think based on her years of experience, I should be able to like learn a lot from her expertise. But again, a lot of this work is not even like the work part of it's the heart part of it for me. Like,
Right.
where's your heart at? Like, because kids gonna cuss you out. They're gonna call you all kinds of names, and how many motherfuckers you gonna be before you throw in the towel? And like, you know what I'm saying? So, where's her heart at, and what does that look like over the course of a school year? And then I can figure out how to be my full self as a parent and as a school leader once I know like what her perspective is, because I'm treating it as an opportunity. I'm like, well, listen, like she needs a redemption story, right? So it's going to be important for like if we can have success in school, a lot of that is going to she's going to rely on me, to be quite honest with you, because I have the other assistant principal, she out the door, so it's going to be me and her, and I have a great relationship with the staff, students, family, so it's going to be important for us to have a rock solid relationship, because if it goes south for me, I doubt that she'll be able to turn teachers in her favor, parents in her favor, or kids in her favor, just because her reputation. And I don't know if she got. You need to have a special something to connect with our folks, and I don't know if it's there yet.
Well, I appreciate you sharing again. Thank you. So I'm hearing, I'm going to share back what I heard. So what
Mhm.
I'm hearing is that Barry Wilkins is not going to use a 30-second cell phone video clip of a person to formulate an opinion.
Right.
He's going to allow the invitation of a meeting to
Mhm.
get an invitation of a meeting to create an opportunity to get to know his new principal. Is
Mhm.
that what I heard?
Exactly. Exactly right.
Fantastic. Because once you have this meeting and you are able to ask those important questions or those questions that are important to you, you name them. What are your thoughts about school community partnership? You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? How do you feel about the school being a hub to the community, being a hub of resource? That's what I heard is important to Barry. You know what I'm
It is
saying? That's what
like
I heard.
you're
So
right.
you're now going to ask this person who the SDP deemed fit and suitable to
Mhm.
lead Feltonville, you know what I'm saying? Arts and sciences. So now you are going to, ask those important questions. And
Absolutely.
how do you feel about that?
I feel great about it because this might sound crazy, but I love difficult conversations because you have now we got to keep it 100. Like we can't dance around things. So it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult. But the other side of that, we can, we'll be in a better place than because I don't want to be playing no games. Like I said, this work is hard. We're gonna be rolling up our sleeves. I'm not walking around on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what I bring to the table. Like you were saying earlier, like tomahawk steak over here, baby.
Yes,
So
sir.
I know what I bring to the table. And so I want to be at my best. Like I'm not, use me use me to your full advantage, right? And let's make sure our missions align. Again, I'm in service to young people. I'm also in service to the principal, but like use me to your best advantage. And let's put our egos aside and just get with the business of, really developing these young folks.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. Um, I believe, and so I just want to circle back to where we started and where we are now. I,
Mhm.
you know, I have it in my notes, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought you said you didn't in this meeting. You did not want to come across as aggressive.
Yes.
You use that, right? That's what you said. Excellent.
Hmm.
So after during this coaching session, we've talked about opportunities where we can have this meeting be more inquisitive. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? More curious based, you wanting to get to know. Um, how does that align with you not wanting to come across aggressive? Do you think that meets the goal that you were out to set?
Yeah, because even how you read me earlier, you're like, ooh, that sounds like anger. Or that feels like anger or is frustration. I'm not good at like hiding my frustrations, and I don't want to push her off as we're just starting to establish ourselves. So I think having the mindset of like asking questions, and literally diving into like, well, what is this new leader's North Star? Because I generally want to know. Um, like, you know, approaching it from like more of an inquisitive standpoint versus of like, okay, here's what I stand for. This is what it's got to be. You know, this space has given me an opportunity to just sort of vent a little bit and take the edge off because I can't have this conversation with like folks just don't understand if they're not in education. But I also can't have this conversation with like my school folks because it's just some things they just can't be a part of. Like this is more about like because at the end of the day, she and I are school leadership. At the end of the day, so we kind of have to keep our arm's length distance from. Not to say we can't connect with people on a human level, but like we got to have our own little Nostra Nostra or whatever, like our own mafia, and keep it tight and keep it frank and transparent. And we got to be in pocket, and that rhythm has to start now before the school year gets off the rails and we have all these pressures on us and all these eyeballs on us and da 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 da. So starting that journey by asking questions, I'm looking forward to that because I'm curious. I'm actually curious to know, like, who are you? Like, what do you stand for? Like, why this school? Because she wanted this school in particular.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I feel good about that. I feel like the connection, like you said, the connection is just really, I need her to know who I am. She needs to know who I am. I mean, I need to know who she is so we can really build together. So taking that approach, I think will unlock that conversation, and it won't be tense. I mean, it's going to get, some things are going to be tense because we may not see eye to eye on things, but at least we can, as long as you know where I stand, I think she'll be fine.
All right. So I feel like you have a solid plan. Do you feel like you have a solid plan?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Right. Do you need any assistance? Do you need any assistance from me to execute the plan?
Yeah, like this is a great place for like just maintenance and just staying on point, like just having it, because I don't know how things are going to evolve. Like, so we should have this conversation again when I actually meet her and I know what I'm dealing with. Um, and we can use the conversations like, oh damn, what were you most nervous about? Well, the thing I was most nervous about was her being a complete jackass. Turns out she's fantastic. So maybe it's, hopefully we're having that conversation.
Right. Awesome. All right. So any particular timetable work best for you? How far out would you like to go?
Let's start in like 2 weeks.
All right. Well, Barry, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2.
I mean, yet again, I mean, just a strong conversation. Yet again, so I mean, going back to what Jerome said earlier about a coaching carousel, that it can be difficult because you are feeding on what the previous coach has said, and what they have done. What I absolutely love is how this conversation started on core values, really blossomed about core values, and even ended about core values. And that's very difficult to do in a coaching carousel, to really name that, notice that, and to really trace that. Again, it speaks to maturity of the coaching conversation, because, and I think it really came in April's part where, again, Jerome was like, I noticed that pivot when you said X, right? And it sounded like it was again related to the core values, related to what are your values, and how is this particular situation compromising your values, and what do you typically do when your values are being compromised in this particular situation? That's coaching, right? Because it goes beyond just the problem that they're experiencing, and it goes into what they're actually dealing with on a day-to-day like level. Like if this was another person that compromised this particular value that they're experiencing, and how would they respond to that, right? So you all really kind of help to lift the conversation even further up, which I thought was like super, super strong at y'all being able to do that. Only again, yet a coach who is experienced can really see those things. So y'all are really starting again to really hone in on those things. Barry, how did you feel about that? I know we're definitely over time, but Barry, how did you feel about those? And then any thoughts that folks have before we close out?
I just thought, April, you just unlocked a whole thing for me, because I was like in a pretty dark place. I'm like, I'm gonna let this lady go and know. But then it was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah.
maybe I should turn it around and make it more of a,
Mm-hmm.
tell me more about you. And then that
Mm-hmm.
invites a conversation about me. And the tone will be way different. So thank you for that. Cause I was like, I don't even know, because I don't even know when this lady's gonna parachute into my building. I don't know what it's gonna be about. But the little
Yeah.
bit that I do know about her, she got an ego. She's tough as nails. And like I want to penetrate some of that by, tell me how you said, man, you've been so successful in the district. Like, how are you striking that work-life balance, right? You come from this magnet school. What kind of strategies can we deploy here with this school community? So I thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
because
then
that wasn't in your core values. That's not how you would naturally respond, right? And so
yeah.
like April really did get you back to, wait, who are you naturally? Who are you at your core? How do we
Mhm.
go on to that? Because it's like this is not who you are in your core to respond in that manner. And how would you feel if somebody else responded that way, is what Jerome did. But again, even going back to, I'm going to go to Randy too, which is, you know, being able to draw that out at the beginning, like being comfortable and just you mentioned a few things at the beginning of the coaching conversation, but let's focus on this. Let's specifically focus on this. And I thought that was great. Really, really great.
I love
Yeah,
how Randy gave
aha
it.
moment, and in our notes, you said, like it was another aha moment, right? But again, I'm just feeding based off of what they did, literally what they did, which was great, really, really good.
Yeah, I love the choice at the beginning. Like, hey, you gave me all this stuff. Which one feels heaviest? And like part about my wife, that feels manageable. That feels like doable. Like
Yeah,
I feel like I got a solution for that. This I have no solution. Like I'm way outside of any sort of solution. But again, like discovering her leadership style, and I love how April was like, you like curiosity. I do like curiosity. You right about that.
yeah,
April.
yeah, that was
I was
good.
like, let's just reel in the spiral because it was.
That is so real. Well, anybody else have any further thoughts? Anything that's coming to mind, at top of mind for you all?
Just that this conversation felt really relevant. It just felt relevant. Yes, I need to make a plan to have a conversation with somebody. So this kind of got me in the right mindset, just thinking through how to approach things with people that you're not sure how they're gonna be. I feel like this is a common challenge of many people in professional spaces.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really agree. And I'm gonna let you say that. No, no, but that is so true though. I mean, I 100% agree. And this is why we are leadership coaches.
Yes.
Because you really, I mean, say if somebody else experienced that same issue that Barry was experiencing, the answer is to lean on core values. And that's what you all did. How would you approach this? What is real about? Don't let them get you out of your own character, right? Like that was the biggest thing. Any other thoughts? Very good.
Very good.
All right, well, I'm about to go see the Lion King, you guys. I did a bit. Every time Barry is on, I mean, he talked about The Color Purple, on Broadway, and I was like, oh, you gotta go see it. I'm about to go see the Lion King for like this. This probably is my 12th time. I know it's 10 plus now seeing it on Broadway, but it's here in Charlotte and it's opening night. Super excited.
Have fun. I saw it in New York, man. That's a good show.
It's the best in New York because how Fire Rock come from the floor, but when it travels, it come from the side. Which I mean, again, I didn't seen it so much, so I would know.
The fact that you know that.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know if y'all read the thing this morning. But Nala, the King's
The Lion coach. Yeah.
Yeah, the King's coach. Yeah. So that's part of the thoughts around it is that being the King's coach. I really like her in the play. It's really good. Yeah.
Well, go enjoy the play. This was a good one, y'all, for me to end on. Thank y'all. This was good. This was good.
Very good. Yeah,
Awesome
you all
job.
have a good one, and we'll chat.
All right, take care, friends.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See.